That's a shame. It happened again. Welcome, everyone. Today we bring you the Silvergate disaster and Multicoin Capital hedge fund flameout on Rugged, Ruined, and REKT. As always, I love it when I hear that music. Like I always say, I take people's misfortune from getting rugged by dishonest devs, getting ruined by FOMO, or wrecked by losing all their money on a contract hack. And we use these examples as educational tools to make the investing experience better for all of you. Well, we try. We really try. I've reported many scams over these past 3 seasons. Simple $20,000 honeypots, $500 million hacks, and frankly, everything in between. What's left? Oh, trust me, there's always more to talk about in this land of crypto and digital assets. So yes, normally my show revolves around the little guy taking it in the shorts and getting wrecked. And most of these projects I review are crap, coins, fake dApps, or other small projects that escape scrutiny because you people like to FOMO. And people, when they do that, they spot the next moonshot and they FOMO right in with blind trust, only to lose their shirts. Yes, this still happens every day in crypto. I certainly do go over some of the more popular cryptos out there, some cross-chain bridges that keep getting exploited, and of course, those wonderful hacked DAOs and protocols that REKT News writes about all the time. But for the past few episodes, you may have noticed I started mentioning larger projects. Larger projects and other tokens and coins that just got hammered, such as FTX and Alameda, Solana, although Solana's doing better, not just because it's big news, but also to show you that it's not just the small guy that gets kicked in the teeth. The big players in the market also get bent over that proverbial couch now and then. And this week, I have 2 great examples of that. And yes, it is continued fallout from the FTX scandal, but as I'd like to say, there's a twist. And that twist is that all the info we needed to know was in front of our eyes. We just didn't know how to read it, or we just didn't want to read it. Up first today is Silvergate. Silvergate is, well, they were a large cryptocurrency bank. What they do is a bit complicated, but Silvergate was a settlement bank for crypto exchanges, large market makers, and other large institutional investors that moved lots of money in crypto around. If you move lots of money in crypto around and had to rely on the traditional banking network, well, banks don't work weekends, after hours, holidays. They don't really work much at all. Finance famously had to wait for U.S. banks to open on a Monday morning while needing liquidity late one Friday. Not good and not good at all. So where there is a gap in needed services, what happens? Someone always steps in to fill it. Silvergate did that. What they did is they settled transactions to cash or just crypto between 2 parties 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Billions of dollars every day. All day, every day. But they made a mistake. Yes, they did. It's safe to say that when times are good, management and the company's inner workings can be awful, but because of high profits, those ills are overlooked. Conversely, when the market pulls back and piles of cash disappear, people start looking closely at you, wondering where their money went. Suddenly, your emperor has no clothes. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Silvergate's involvement and exposure to FTX was certainly an issue as the crash in prices and scandal hurt market liquidity, volume, and pretty much everything else. And FTX was a huge customer. But it wasn't FTX's fault. Nope, the real problem started much, much earlier with Silvergate themselves. You hear me talk a lot about audit chain here. for good reason. But well, they're also getting ready to launch their protocols for all to use. The people at AuditChain decided to run Silvergate's SEC filings through their Patchouli validating nodes. And see what turns up. And look at this disaster. Have you ever known red to mean anything good in money and or accounting? Of course not. This is their most recent complete filing, 32 problems with it. You may think, Tom, well, they were a massive company with a lot going on. They can't possibly get every last filing requirement and calculation correct, can they? Well, you would be wrong. That's right. You would be. Here is a multi-million-dollar company with one of the world's largest air forces. That's right, UPS. And look, green. Green and all good. So it can be done. Yeah, Silvergate had problems recently. Wait, recently? No. Here is their 2021 filings. 2 years ago, at the end of the year, 48 issues regarding credit loans, adding things incorrectly, not filing required disclosures, which is basically hiding other issues, and all sorts of other problems. Even here, on their SEC 10Q, they checked the box that says, yes, we filed everything that we're supposed to file. They checked it right there. Yet they had 20 disclosures they did not file on that day that they said, we checked everything. Survey says, yep, you can't fool AuditChain's Patchouli nodes. Silvergate is missing a litany of disclosures. But remember, the end of 2021, the market and Bitcoin were flying high and money was being made hand over fist. So nobody cared, just like FTX. And now, REKT. All the info was there for the people to question Silvergate's business, but nobody looked. Hopefully, some of you viewers can use AuditChain's tools to do your own research and not get wrecked. Let me take a moment to pay the bills here and talk a little bit more about our sponsor, AuditChain. Most of you know that crypto exchanges have been taking a beating about transparency, and many groups out there are trying to solve that. But AuditChain has already done that. AuditChain's protocols and network of validators can mathematically prove that a company's entire financial state, not just proof of reserves, but a proof of state, and whether or not that company is providing accurate reporting and information to the respective government regulators and to the public. Seriously, you and I can check crypto companies and traditional companies' financial reports for transparency and accuracy using a logic and reasoning engine called Patchouli that records its output where? On the blockchain. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, blockchain technology is now able to be used to check on traditional companies. Behind me is a list of companies that comprise the S&P 500, S&P 100. In essence, the largest U.S. companies by size. More than one quarter, 29 out of 100, have problems with their reports. Remember, accounting and other corporate systems are garbage in and garbage out. So if there are problems with the data out for these companies, in red here, what does that mean? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There are problems with the data going in. And this was figured out not by accounting or auditing firms and fleets of consultants. This was compiled and reported on by AuditChain's Patchouli validating nodes and took only 5 minutes. It's revolutionary and it's a disruptor technology. AuditChain. Now back to Rugged, Ruined, and REKT. Welcome back, everybody. If you've got this far into your crypto life and have not heard of the massive company Multicoin Capital, don't be surprised. They invest in all sorts of digital asset startups, funds, and entrepreneurs, and have their own hedge fund. I know you're smiling, because if they're on this show, something didn't go well. No, this isn't a good news show. That's right. One of their primary hedge funds didn't go well. In 2022, at the end of 2022, their end of the year letter to investors reported one of their own funds losing 91% of its value. Imagine that, an investment fund managed by a professional firm, losing almost all of your money. So tell me, can any of you tell me what hedge fund means? What's the operative word? Hedge! Did they hedge? No, they didn't. Like I said, Multicoin Capital has a lot going for it and plenty of success. But how they failed to mitigate their exposure to FTX and Solana in that fund or hedged their positions by deploying options, I will never know. It's mind-boggling why they didn't do that to mitigate their losses. For you people that have made a little cash in life, if you invest in a hedge fund, please ask them this. What is your hedging strategy? If they come back and answer you, we don't have one, get your money back. Always ask questions and do your own research. Otherwise, you're going to end up in trouble just like these chumbalones. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what else to tell you about this other than everyone in that fund got wrecked. So once again, thank you to Audit Chain for presenting this season of Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked. Next week, a whole bunch of obfuscation and asshattery from an entire family of failed projects, liquidity pools, and pissed off investors. So be there.